Did any of you know that Keanu Reeves was the bassist in a rock band once? Did you also know that that band is also back? They've been back for a hot minute. No? How you doing now? And fittingly, it's over this. And oh crap, I forgot to change my shirt to something more appropriate. Hold on, I think I got a little bit of time. Think I got a little bit of time left for me. Here it is. I knew I had it in here. Don't worry. I'll introduce the teams in a moment. I had to make sure I was in the appropriate gear. All right. There we go. Day one, Charlotte FC fan here. I actually bought this shirt here during a Panther game back in like 2021. Yeah, before they even played a single game. They wouldn't play until 2022 for their first season, but this was months before they played their first game at the bank. Figure I picked one up during a Panther game where they hosted the Philadelphia Eagles, and yeah, that was the Matt Rule era. But we're not here to talk about Panthers. We're here to talk about Charlotte, who are currently in their fourth season as a franchise. No, wait, it's this would be their fifth. That's right, their fifth season as a franchise. I had to remind myself for a little bit that this is actually their fifth time, their fifth season. So they're still pretty much brand new, all things considered. They're hoping to build off of their previous two seasons, which hasn't been going so well so far, and I just now noticed that my camera is having a bunch of issues. Who saw that one coming? Is it fixed now? Is it Okay, we should be good. Anyway, as I was saying, Charlotte FC 2022 was their first season. They were supposed to start a couple years before, but it got delayed. Probably because David Tepper was being David Tepper. Well, they're going to be having their home opener against another newer team. The one actually, this one actually started a year prior in the form of Austin FC, as in Austin, Texas. And I believe, yeah, I can watch. I learned from previous times this usually doesn't start till this ability to start tuning in doesn't start till like 5 minutes before the game is scheduled to start. And again, like I've said in the past, over all of these buffering things, if it's constantly buffering, just refresh. Just refresh as much as you can. The game will eventually start. It will. Don't worry. It'll start. Just trust the process. It's slated to start at 7:30. They don't always start at the slotted time. Sometimes it takes a couple extra minutes. Like take hockey for example. But more often than not, the games don't start till like at most 7 to 8 minutes after the game itself starts. Yeah, I'm just now realizing I never updated the thing up there. Well, we got done before the game starts, so like let me take care of that real quick. Don't worry, guys. We actually have a little bit of a break from hockey for once. There's not going to be any more hockey for me to watch till the end of the month. Let me make sure I got this right. It's week 3. There we go. Got that fixed up. We should be all set to go. So now that I fixed it, this is week 3 of the MLS season. There are breaks here and there. So I'll be sure to keep y'all up to date on that. But yeah, we don't have another hockey game for quite a hot minute. There would have been one for one of the upcoming weeks. Well, well, given the kind of shirt up, given that I've already admitted myself to be a Charlotte fan. I'm this is probably one of those times where my bias kicks in. And it'd be a lot of fun for me to just see Charlotte win their first game of the season on their home opener. Yeah, definitely. E- I definitely want Charlotte to win. It's probably the one of those rare times where I pretty much let the bias unfold. And I say that knowing that I'm a fan of a minor league hockey team that is sucking rocks right now. Uh, but I'm kind of that is quite the prediction. And I mean, granted, it in turn at this point, I'm still somewhat of a newbie by standards of trying to understand players and actually watching these games across the sports. First, but I'm think but if I remember how logic serves on my end, don't worry about it. We have a lot of bad pronunciations around here. Here, you're fine. You're Yeah, but I did. But usually when enough times, I actually have not been to an MLS game. And in fact, I haven't been to a soccer game in general before. Or, but if I, but if I ever do want get the chance to do so, if I do ever get the chance to do so, I know that I know that they're rivals with like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. Well, but yeah, if I ever get to where I'm actually able to go to a soccer game, the closest the closest one to me is Orlando. Oh, but at the same time, I've also wanted to eventually go see a game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, whether it be for like NFL or MLS. That's because if you, because I can definitely tell you, just from the pictures, that is quite the state of the art facility. And I've heard about about the low cost food thing reputation thing. About 70-ish. Yeah, that about checks out. Yeah, that about checks out for a major league. It definitely checks out. It de- I definitely have. I can definitely tell that they've grown a lot with that, and I can definitely tell you that is a way better deal than what you're going to be getting with like the NFL right now. It's like, oh yeah, I can imagine and how I can imagine that because I remember seeing the Tom Grossi 30 and 30 thing where he visited all the NFL stadiums and he got to watch a Sounders game and showcase the experience. And that comes with being at a soccer game. Granted, that comes with the asterisk with it being Lumen being designed the way it is. But I can definitely tell there's a unique charm. But in terms of soccer, I do know that there's supposedly a soccer team that is I'm no, not supposedly. I know that there's like I think it's an MLS Next team or something like that. I don't remember what league they're in. But I know that there's like a local soccer team here. I believe they're called the Armada. Uh, they used. I remember they used to be mentioned on like some of those Robert Palmer commercials, like way back in like the mid 2010s, or was it the late at this point? It's been so long since those commercials aired. Actually, speaking of the season pass, they actually I think I mentioned this earlier. They actually restructured. They actually restructured it. They actually restructured their Apple TV deal to where there's no longer a season pass as long as you're getting Apple TV, you're completely all set. And they actually changed that. And so no more season pass thing if you're already paying for Apple TV, you're gonna get the game on there just fine without without any extra money involved for a season pass. Yeah, Yeah, I'm glad they actually did that because that decision is kind of what made me doing this a whole lot easier. And hey, it actually works out for you. It actually works out for you. And I believe, as if I'm not mistaken, as part of the restructuring, the the current contract would now instead expire after the 2027 to 28 season, which I think I said before would be the first one under a more standard European like schedule, which is kind of also why I wanted to cover MLS just to see how this goes. And I will say this, I've I've definitely been. Oh, it looks like apparently the sports books are projecting a 46.1% Charlotte win. I mean, let me try to pull up the lineups here because I know there's probably some that haven't tuned in yet. No worries. Thank you for showing up and sharing your experience. And no worries. But yeah, yeah, we so for Charlotte is listed as having a 4-3-3 formation, and Austin's listed a 4-2-3-1, and the game is officially underway. As let me pull up the goalies here for Charlotte. It's Christian Galina. You can definitely tell I'm still trying to figure out pronunciations as I go along. And for Austin, it's Brad Stuver. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. Actually getting that kind of getting interactions like that. So it'll be interesting to see how this game unfolds. And let's see if that 2-1 Charlotte win prediction comes true. And we'll see if both of those goals come from Tom Lamani. Or no, it was Tom Lamati. There's no N in there. But at least I can just pronounce the last names of the goalies. He's like, I mean, you think from watching so many hockey games and hearing all those pronunciations that I'd be used to pronouncing the names of other players by now. And, well, there are still some struggles, but it's part of the charm. It's part of the charm, learning how to pronounce things on the fly. That's the that's a lot of fun. Cause you get cause you get to learn how to actually pronounce names. And I will say these soccer these MLS ones have actually been some of my most successful streams, which I'm honestly I'm honestly surprised since I mainly just like doing these streams of me leaving like my own little scorebug thing while I watch it, that kind of thing. I mean, but at the same time, just shows that that sometimes there is an audience for something like this. And I do all this and I never even mention anything about I never require anybody to leave a like or do any sort of subscribe thing. That's just only if y'all wanted to. If you like what you see, go ahead and explore. If you don't, oh, I completely understand. It's just there's still plenty of other stuff I can talk about in terms of sports. Apparently, Corey Perry scored his first game back as a Lightning against the Maple Leafs because that's how the Maple Leafs are. The Corey Perry Invitational is back in business, and there's definitely a lot of things. But as I've explained in my previous two, the small numbers up at the top up here are like your points total. These bigger ones here are your goals, and this is their current record right here. And this indicates how many substitutions are left. And yes, and yes, I call them by periods it's be- because it's simpler to refer to the halves that way for the sake of this design. I s- I haven't even bought. I haven't been able to get something sorted out to where I can actually. I still don't have anything to where I can actually manipulate a clock. I mean, at the same time, I could decide at some point to maybe do one specifically for soccer if the period thing ends up being too confusing. It'll just look a little weird and out of place if I do that. I'm. It's just a learn as I go thing. Also, something I'm only just now noticing about the referees is that they don't wear the exact same colors of uniform each game. I just now noticed that. Like one game they're wearing like this game here they're wearing something that looks more like the like a red, and there'd be some other game where they wear the more standard or a more standard blackish gray. And then there'd be another instance where they wear a something yellow. That's something I seem to just notice. And I try the best I can and not let the game itself get picked up on the mic. Because that could be copyright issues there. Nobody likes copyright issues. Right? Right? Anyway. Geez, we got to talk it all about that, and I've yet to mention much about the game itself. Don't worry. The latest thing that happened is there's gonna be a corner. I got the feed pulled up on like a separate laptop here. So, oof, 6-10-1 on the road. Ugh, that can definitely hurt a team like Austin if those woes continue. I would hate to have a bad road record. I would absolutely hate that. Here comes a throw in. I think that's what it is. And let me just make sure I got the goalie's names right, just to make sure, because we got to talking quite a bit. It's Kalina for Charlotte and Stuver for Austin. Okay. Just had to make sure. That was Kalina who kicked it in. Uh, not, well, not like into a net, but more like kicked it all the way down. I wonder how they managed to make. I wonder how a team like Austin manages to make their green uniforms not blend in with the grass or the turf, whatever they use. Because I believe the field there at the bank is more of a turf. I think. So I remember at some point there may have been grass. I also know that they're trying to work on renovations for Bank of America. Not just any kind of renovations, but like a full transformation. Like a full on transformation of the stadium itself to make it feel to make it a lot more modern and actually have a longer lifespan. And for the record, I don't do any sort of gambling. Just thought I'd mention that. Why? Because, well, it's a hole that once you go in it, you're gonna fail and fail to get out. It's just truth. Once you be once you get started on gambling, it's very hard to stop. And then you end up replicating the themes in House of the Rising Sun. Like just don't just without the power of New Orleans. Charlotte's definitely being aggressive here. That is being bounced around by some heads, and that is caught by Stuver. That ball was just bouncing around on everybody's heads and feet. Yeah, it bounced around on like 3 different heads and a foot before it ended up in the hands of Stuver. And we have a player for Austin that's slow to get up. I think they might. I think that's a. They're declaring it a foul. Yeah, it was a foul. I'm sure he was able to get up just fine. He probably just stretched it out. They will have had medical trainers out there and stuff if he was actually hurt. Yeah, I am aware that this is a sport where where some there are players with a bad habit of flopping around and faking injuries. So to be honest, that flopping part seems to be more associated to soccer, but the faking injuries part that can definitely happen in any sport. You just have to pick up on the things. By the way, that attempt by Torres went over. And here's Austin with another attempt here. And that one's not gonna get anywhere close either. That was a miss. Taking those shots, he's gotta look good on the shot sheet. Whoever it's called. Yeah, the feed's faster than my current progress on the game here. So I'll just describe it as I see is it. And play is gonna stop there as Wilfred Zaha is being shown the yellow. Well, that's now his first. Well, that's now his first foul for disqualification. He's trying to make his case. I I didn't see him put his hands over him. If that's what. Try, I'm still trying to learn how they assess them as I go. And there's another foul. Foul. This one against Rosales. No card though. And we got some. And I think we just saw Zaw talking to his coach. I think Zaw was just talking to his coach, trying to. I don't know if he's getting a bit of a hothead or what. And that is just gonna be saved by Stuver. Oh yeah, since I'm following some minor league hockey stuff, might as well mention that things aren't looking good for the Gargoyles. They're pretty much right there on elimination's door. But yeah, Zol's gonna have to try to keep his head cool. Regardless if that was warranted or bogus, he gotta keep his head cool. And that ball is sent out. And Khalil Mack just signed a 1-year deal with the Chargers. I'm gonna. Oh yeah, that's right. Because F1 is now gonna be available for me to watch in a more accessible way. I might be able to tune in to a couple of races and see how that sport turns out. I'm not gonna stream it though, because there'd be no point. I wouldn't have a proper format for it, if anything. I mainly want to focus on the more team-based ones like this. And there seems to be a little bit of a talk. It seemed like there may have been a little bit of a talk. But whatever it was, it's over with. There's been some challenges stuff. That ball is going out. And I'm wondering. Look, that's just thrown in. Austin unable to get something going. Charlotte trying to drive down. And that's going to be a yellow card now against Austin. And it's Guilherme Bureau who is shown the card. Everyone keeps trying to put their hands up like, nope, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Nope, 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 totally not me. And referee is going to, they're going to video review. They're going to go to video review. They're going to they're taking a second look to see if, I think, looks like they're going to give them a red. They upped it. It's going to be they went to video review determined for it to be a red card, and the Austin players are trying to make the case here. They're trying to make case. And that's a red for Bureau. His night's done. Austin's going to be down a man. So Austin is going to be playing with 10 men the rest of the game. And there were a couple Austin players that were wanting to get it figured out, and the main thing, I think the main part there was the stepping on the foot. I think they called him for, they got him for stepping on the foot of Eden Proclamati. His night's done. Bureau's gonna have to go get an early shower. I should find a way to introduce a graphic that showcases when a team is playing a man down. Because this is only the third stream of doing this. And that's the first time we just had that occur. You know what? Since I have these here, why don't I just make use of the challenge things from the NFL one? I can use that as like a placeholder. I'm gonna use that as a bit of a placeholder until I can get something more concrete set up. It's early in the season. I'll be sure to fix something like that for next time. And Austin is going to go ahead and use a substitution during all this. Nelson's coming off for Bell. I got the. I'll be sure to fix. I'll be sure to. I'll be sure to find something more suitable. I may create a separate challenge thing. I may create a separate challenge thing because it's already red. But just only have it like be like a red square that fits in like a corner or something. I don't know. I'll get something figured out. I'm gonna do like period flag. Yeah, that definitely sounds like a good idea. Period flag. Throw the dirty laundry up in the air, even though it's a different sport. That'll definitely show who's boss. And here's Toklamani who gets it into strike first for Charlotte. Already taking advantage. Already taking advantage of the situation. Toklamani is able to score the first goal of the game. His first goal of the seat at the fortress. Based on the text there. Now I know that's how what I think I know what they actually meant now. Toklamani. Toklamani is the name. But already taking advantage of the red card situation after having his foot stepped on. He drills it right in. And that is a quick response. Wow. What the heck happened there? Now Austin gets on the board. It's an own goal for Agemon. Uh, uh, you can't be serious. Agemon, you serious? And now we got some discussions going on. And we got ourselves a yellow card. A yellow. We just had a yellow card get shown to a bench. Wow. They gave a yellow to Dean Smith, the coach. He was trying to make his case, and it got heated. Jeez. Can't believe this. An equalizer on an own goal, and then a yellow card to Dean Smith. Lovely. And they don't even show it on the feed. Can't believe this. And but these guys are being more like rivals here. This is like one of those rivalry things that's going on here. And Dean Smith, think it was directed, but I think that was directed towards Dean Smith. But we are going to have an injury substitution. Pereira is going to be subbed out. And Dubersarski is going to come off the bench for their second substitution of the game. I guess all the fireworks is starting to come out now. I think I heard him say that was yellow was for Dean Smith. I'm sure. I'm sure he was furious with how that transpired. But I will definitely say there's been a lot. There's been some crazy stuff that's gone on already. And apparently there's already been 99 total, no, 100 total views, averaging around a minute and a half. It's probably due to all the buffering and stuff. There's only so much I can do here, okay? Jeez. Didn't think I'd be going on this much. I still find it weird that they have yet to document that particular yellow card. Maybe they saw no reason to. I mean, we'd know. These two teams are not in the same conference for your information. Austin is in the West, Charlotte's in the East. And Charlotte hasn't had any reason to make use of his subs. I am sure he's referring to save his for the second half. I'm just wondering. I'm still trying to process that yellow card to a bench. Because that's normally towards one of the coaches. And that's going to end up towards Stuber. Chance for a breakaway short, apparently. It's just been a quite the first half. Went all the way to the other side and out. And thanks for telling me about your coverage for a Sunday. I'd love to have to know more. No, not really. Stuber kicked it in to the Well, the ball went out anyway. Tossed in. Charlotte with possession. There's gonna be quite a bit of extra time on here for this first half. Did they say to the Austin bench is where it went? I don't. Well, I guess I'll know for sure if it ends up turning into a red. Because I know if you get a second yellow, it's automatically a red. That is back. Backside. Not gonna. But yeah, we are very much in stoppage time for this first half. So they added 8 total minutes of stoppage time. And they're showing a replay here. Yeah, I would say that'd be a foul. That'd totally be a foul right there. And there is a medical trainer out there for Austin. They might have to make another substitution here. And there's some Austin players trying to make their case. See here. That's where. Okay, so there was an initial. There was an initial incident with some heads. And then came the foul by Uzuni. So the situation is being explained. Looks like he got checked out and everything. He has a headband on. Oh, and he's gonna be allowed to go back in. No substitution needed. Austin can't afford to make use of any more substitutions right now. This is a long 8 minutes of stoppage time. That much I will say. This was a long 8 minutes of stoppage time. And that's gonna be saved by Stuber. That almost went straight into the net, but it's gonna end up being safe. But Stuber is gonna end up being the one that stops it. And that's going out of bounds. And make sure the speed is up to date here. Because I know it'll crap out sometimes. I wonder how they determine how much of the 8 minute stoppage time has to be used through all the. Because we are in minute 50. I guess the stoppage time goes on for as long as they want it to. Dependent on some stuff. And I do need to take my energy pill once this goes into halftime. Stuber just kicks it down. And different offensive player kicks it down. It's over towards the net, but that isn't going to even get a chance to be shot. Charlotte's able to get it advancing. Oh yeah, Tree's making some posts. That's right, hockey. Standard hockey stuff. I can only imagine what the Tubs are going to be during halftime. I can only imagine. And it's gonna be set up here for a corner. And so is not going to be able to do it. It's going to go over. This has been a long first half, people. This has been a long first half. And I'm trying to make sure I'm as far as up to date as I am able to. Unfortunately, we get all kinds of technical difficulties for some reason. And there's another foul. And at long last, after about 55 minutes, we have hit halftime. It'll go back down to 45 minutes played because that's how halftime works. But we're finally there. Now I can finally take my own little intermission here. Don't worry, I'm going to be back in time for the second half. Where do you want in here, Farina? I try to close the door, and that's what I get. So, but here we are. I see you there, Blair. Now I gotta take my energy pill. We got Batman in Charlotte colors in the stands. Oh, and I think apparently I picked the right game to watch because apparently the New England Revolution and Houston Dynamo got postponed. I can only imagine how that's going. Wonder why I got postponed. Farina, what you doing? You better not be messing with any cords there. I'm currently live doing stuff here. It's kind of why I don't like you being in here. Let me see here. You know you're gonna have to eventually leave, Farina. Oh, it was supposed to kick off at 2:30. I must have missed it in the news. That's quite interesting. But Farina, I need you to eventually. Farina, I need you to move and leave. You know you can't stay there. Got my eyes on you. So we should be back for the second half right now. Yeah, it looks like they're back. So yeah, there it is. Second half underway. I know you're right there, Farina. I know what your plan is. You better not. I swear, you mess this up for me. I know how you are. Trying to watch a game for the stream. What a cat. You're quite the cat. There's not even any kitties playing right now. That's not until whenever the next Chelsea game is. They will almost go in. When they're just showing replays like normal. Yeah, Apple TV seems to like having some issues, but I think they're. But it's pretty interesting. See how it all goes. This is back 45. I wonder if there was some sort of like weather condition thing that led to that Revolution game not being played. Could be possible. And that right there. And other things. Let's see what other stuff is going on in the league. Oh, there. Atlanta is losing to Real Salt Lake. Did they learn anything? Have they? There's two games that are scoreless as well, which is interesting to think. The win probability for Charlotte is now at 56%. Really, the bettors are really trying to make their money back on Charlotte. That was not able to line up as well. That's going out. It'll end up being a corner. All kinds of shenanigans in that first half. And on that corner, it ends up in the hands of Stuver. It's really the only goalie I've been hearing anything worthwhile over, apparently. Think, I, if I'm mistaken, Charlotte does have one of the best goalies. One of the reigning best goalies on the roster. I don't remember if it was Kalina or if it was someone else. But that whole shenanigan with the own goal aside, it's been pretty solid game for Kalina. More corners. Hope you wanted some corners. And lots of them. If you liked a bunch of corners. What do you think? Corners for everybody, right? Corners for everybody. And speaking of corners, here comes another one. Wow. Wow. The other players are trying to make their case. And I think Frino's wanting out here. There you go. Man, these referees. Let me make decisions here. Now it's just going to be a free kick. And here's the free kick. And it's straight into the net. Charlotte gets the second goal of the game. And it's for Pep Bill. Right off the free kick. Well, this is the score that got predicted. This was the score that got predicted by that person from earlier. But turns out it's going to be a goal for Bill. Not even a not even much of a chance for not even much of a chance for Westwood to even. Oh, there now it's gonna go to video review. Oh boy. Looks like there were some conversations. They might be looking at foul. They might be looking at for handball. They're gonna look for a possible. They're checking for a possible handball. Oh, for handball. Yeah, it's hard to say. Not sure. See what the call is. It's it. Oh boy, it got overturned, and we got ourselves a yellow. Uzuni, man, I wonder what led to Uzuni just got shown a yellow. I guess he didn't like something that he heard or something, and now I guess he got a bit of a hothead. I just saw. They just did a video review. It got overturned due to handball. But wow, I didn't. Uh, I guess apparently something happened after they just did that review. Just right after they did that review, that led to the yellow card on Murdo Uzuni. That caught me by surprise. I want to hear what Commentators saying. I want to see if I heard what a commentator said. Wonder if I can log into Apple TV on multiple ends. So let me see if I can. I'm trying to listen in here. Yeah, they didn't say much about it, but I guess Uzuni may have said something to the ref to warrant a yellow. I, I had no idea. I don't know what was said to the ref by Uzuni, but apparently whatever he did was enough to warrant a yellow. At this point, he's gotta have to keep his cool before he too gets hit with a red. Yep, you have to be careful of that stuff. And that is a miss to the right. Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was an actual. It was hard for me to see if there was a handball, but that changed things, right? And now we're getting a yellow card issued to Abada after a hit onto Udursarki. Yeah, that's a challenge. Yeah, that's a bad challenge. That is a bad challenge. That was towards the head. And a little bit of a talk going on over at the benches. There seems to be a little bit of confusion going on with one of the Austin players. And that's an offsides. Looks like they got things cleared out. They didn't have to use a substitution. That was quite the series of it. Quite the thing to sort out. Oh, y'all gotta remember to. Yeah, I'm seeing a bunch of 2-to-1s, and y'all gotta remember I gotta deal with the feed. You gotta remember I got a slower feed than y'all. Also, it doesn't always pick up right away. I mean, and it tends to be faster. That better count for real this time for Bill. There's no way they can deny this one. There should be no way to deny that one. Now, no, should be for real this time. As now it'll be a 2-to-1 lead. But yeah, y'all gotta remember streaming tends to be slower than the antennas. And at times even radio. But yeah, that's actually counting for reals. Now we can better say 2-to-1. You know how crazy it is? Bill was probably not happy about being robbed of one goal, and pop-up was delayed, but Vargas did go in favor of Abada. It was just a little delayed on it popping up. So the substitution did happen. Just that sites were a little bit delayed on that. They must have done the substitution not pretty quick after the goal. Oh, you mean Atlanta has a chance to come back and force a draw over Salt Lake? Huh. Interesting. Abada's not even going to be given a chance to ruin some things. They're going to be like, yeah, nah. And you've done all you could for tonight. So we do have. So it is on pace to be the correct prediction. But get this. We had one say be 2 goals. That it would be 2 goals from Toklomati. There is still time for it to go. There is still time for it to go 3-1 with him getting a second goal. There's still time for that. It'll be either a 2-1 prediction coming true or a 2 goals for one guy prediction coming true. But yeah, I'm I'm not in the Charlotte market, so I have to rely on Apple TV, which it tends to be delayed, and my end tends to be delayed a little bit when it comes to doing these streams. It does seem to be getting a little bit better at times, but yeah. That one is not going to be lined up that well. And that's going to end up going way over. That's likely going to end up going into the corner. And there will be some substitutions. Charlotte is going to. Oh, apparently I missed this. Or apparently this was supposed to have been earlier. Apparently Veronica was also subbed off at the same time for De La Torre. Gee, it took them a while to actually update that. But there will be 3 substitutions for Austin. They're using all of them. Sanchez for Sabovic. Rosales for Foldry. And Uzuni is not even going to be given a chance to lash out his temper again in favor of Ramirez. So they failed to mention. So once again, this thing failed to mention something that should have been noted earlier. No more substitutions for Austin. That's all 5 of them. Unless they change it to where they can do unlimited. That'd be weird. They shouldn't be able to do unlimited. I'm pretty sure they are only allowed 5. Last I remembered. Charlotte's only used 2 of them. Austin just went ahead and used their last 3. But you gotta wonder how nice it'd be on your home opener to get your first win of the season. You know what I mean? How nice would it be? How nice. So, I will say that soon enough, it will eventually get to where I will say that given enough time, this will eventually get to where streaming is capable of being right on time with the game itself, given enough time. There have definitely been plenty of yellow cards. Plenty of yellow cards for sure. Oh yeah, there's a lot of ads that are like Blue Cross Blue Shield stuff. I will say, Blue Cross Blue Shield tends to be pretty good in terms of insurance. At least in terms of my experience. I've had a lot of good experience with Blue Cross Blue Shield overall. They definitely had their hiccups. Official attendance for a sold out lower bowl 35,611. At this rate, they're gonna eventually have to end up opening the upper bowl. At the rate things are going. And for soccer in Charlotte. If it ends up growing big enough, they'll have to open the upper bowl. I can definitely tell you that it can't happen. Because the Icemen had to open up the upper bowl of the arena quite a bit for minor league hockey. They managed to bring in some big crowds at times. Just crazy to think what success can do to a franchise. Absolutely crazy, right? We're just gonna let that one go. Yeah. It's been a wild ride of a game. This is also our most competitive game, and it's only the third week. Just think about it. This is the third time I'm doing this. And it's already the closest game yet. And in terms of the MLS Cup itself, whether or not I actually cover that game is gonna depend on scheduling. And there's a catch from Stuver. It's just what things tend to come down to. Looks like the Earthquakes managed to score one goal the against Philly and still scoreless between Columbus and Chicago. Well then, imagine having a scoreless draw. Probably would be embarrassing in itself. Not gonna lie. I'm probably gonna be going to the rest of it anyway. But time does wind down. I'm just waiting for this to just end up just randomly deciding, you know what, let's just add salt to the wound. Let's just make it 3-0. Why not? Just waiting for that to happen. I'll definitely try to find a graphic that works for this format in terms of the red cards. I've tried to explore that before. Nothing worked. But now that it's actually happened, I might have to explore that again. Or just do a red square, attach it to a side, similarly to the challenge stage. That might help. I'll be sure to look into it for future reference. I'll be sure to do so. That way I'd be better prepared for when it happens again. But there will be a break for the FIFA World Cup, just so you know. There'll be a couple breaks. The timing of the breaks are why they want us, or why they approved the transition into the new format. I still find it funny that Chicago Fire was able to secure a plot of land that Chicago White Sox were looking at because they didn't have a requirement for Chicago, and it was going to be privately funded completely because they didn't require having a district completely made. Like, no, we're not going to have the district made right away. We'll figure that part out later down the line. So I think it's still gonna take some Chicago taxpayer money, I think. I don't remember if it actually does or not. But it'll probably just be for the infrastructure of the stadium itself. But regardless of that, I still find it funny that baseball team lost it to a soccer team. I just don't see the White Sox managing to live on for a bit in Chicago for much longer. Everything about it screams they're gonna move, despite the history. Sorry to say it. It'll be interesting to see how much stoppage time gets added. Because we had 8 minutes in the first half added on. That ended up making the game that part last a total of 55 minutes. Due to having to use up more stoppage time than what was maybe needed. Which does happen. I can definitely tell you the coaches for these teams out here are doing a lot more coaching than what Sean Teagle's doing. That's saying something since the Iceman literally just won earlier. Shows how bad this season has been in terms of minor league hockey for me. But hey, that's for another time. As I said, I don't have to cover any more minor league hockey until the end of the month, where the Lions will get another shot. That went straight in. That was a raising of hands done by Stuver. And it's sent all the way to the opposite side. Just straight down the field. Might as well just send it right down the field. Why not? Just why not? And I try to avoid having the thing be picked up as much as it does. Maybe I should have turned it down a little bit more, but who cares at this point? Game's gonna be over soon. as this is the final minute, as time's winding down in this final minute before stoppage time. And once again, streaming decides to be of a bit of a wreck. But hey, on the plus side, Apple TV's a much better service overall compared to Flow Sports. That service really not good. It'll be 7 minutes of stoppage time to close out this game here. But Columbus and Chicago did end in a scoreless tie. Or a draw in this sport. And that'll be a save, and it'll end up being a corner. Yeah, streaming's weird with how it responds at times. I think I need to do a quick refresh of the thing itself. Because, streaming is weird sometimes. Yeah, that was a lot of footing. But it is going to be a corner. I'm trying to stay as up to date as I can with what I have available. And I think I just saw something come through, so I'll commentate this part through. And what was I just saying? What was I saying just a moment ago? What was I saying just a moment ago? Not the guy that I was mentioning, but it'll do. It's Bill again. That's two in this game for Bill. Just adding salt to the wound. I was literally just mentioning about them just rubbing salt on the wound earlier. I literally just said something about that earlier. Like, yeah, you can definitely tell that Charlotte's back. And they're back, baby. And apparently now it's a little bit foggy going on. It'll be a corner. I wonder if it was from. I wonder if there were some fireworks that went off or something, or if it was expected that there be a fog at this point. But the game's near over anyway. But can you believe that? I was just saying something about what rubbing salt on the wound. And there is a substitution. Another corner coming up, and there is a substitution for Charlotte. It's gonna be Westwood coming out for John. Yes, the last name's John. Aaron John. Imagine, imagine just saying that like it was a James Bond character. Like the name's the name's John, Aaron John, and this is his MLS debut too, huh? Wow, yeah, sure. Make your debut in the what's basically a garbage stoppage time. To get a little bit of playtime in. Why not? It's already there's already salt being rubbed. Why not? Sure. And it was competitive for a hot minute, then it just got out of hand. Don't worry, we'll have a 1 goal game eventually. Just gotta give it enough time. And we haven't had a draw. Hey, but at least we haven't had a draw yet. And with how many games there are and how the rules around them go, we will eventually see draws. It's just a matter of when. A draw will be featured at some point. Just a matter of when. Give it enough time. Just give it enough time. But yeah, you might as well. But yeah, that was pretty much the goal that just said, yeah, Charlotte won. Well, both predictions were off. Well, both the predictions were off. And that's it. That is the game right there. And they're all up in there. Charlotte. 5 predictions and actually managed to give 2 goals to Bill. As they're going to win this one 3-1. It's funny how this stuff turns out sometimes. I'll definitely take the lessons learned from this one and apply them. But I'm really glad I got the man. It feels good as a Charlotte fan to see them get their first win of the season. Hopefully this time we can actually make it past the first round. A man can dream, right? A man can dream. But that's about all the time I got for this particular event. I'm not going to cover Charlotte all the time, obviously. After all, I didn't this they're showing up this early. And I like to have a little bit of variety around here. And I'd like to have some more interactive fun with y'all all that follow MLS. Because there definitely were some fun stuff. And always remember, until next time, be sure to travel safely. Good night, everyone.